In this video, we're going to be discussing if Charles Leclerc has what it takes to be a Formula One world champion. Can he be a Formula One world champion for Ferrari? Can Ferrari be world champions again? And can Charles Leclerc be a world champion before and alongside Sir Lewis Hamilton? We're going to answer all of the questions in this video. So if you're interested in what my thoughts are, definitely keep watching. Welcome back to the channel, guys. My name is Martin, as always, and I'm a specialist technical coach and mentor for open formula drivers. Now, look, I'm going to start this video as I do all of the other ones. I'm not taking sides here. I'm not a fan of a particular team or affiliated with any driver. Just here to give you an objective view of the way I see it, the areas Charles might need to improve, and what he's currently doing really well if he wants to become, obviously, a Formula One world champion. Now, look, the context for this video is of the 26 pole positions that Charles had, he's only converted 5 into race victories. So 5 in 26, that's less than 1/5. That's less than 20% of the time, which means 80% of the time, if he takes pole position, he will not win that race. That's a massively alarming statistic, guys. And again, that forms the context for the video. We need to look into some of those reasons where those races are getting lost and why the conversion has not been there. Now, he's picked up 2 other wins, not from pole, Monza this year and Austria in 2022, where he qualified 2nd. So, guys, there's 2 things here that are always at play in order to be a good, quick, competitive racing driver and go for a world championship. Number one, on one side of the fence, you've got the lap time. That's your sword. That's going to be what you're going to fight with. You are going to fight with your lap time. And you need the lap time because you need something to fight with. Charles has this, and he has this in spades. Then on the other side is the conversion. How do you convert that lap time into a race win? And that's your strategy, your concentration, your attention span, your starts, your attack, your defense, your racecraft, your restarts, your tire management, your fuel management. Are you good in street circuits? Are you good in wet weather? Are you good under pressure? All of those things are what's feeding into the conversion. So Charles has the lap time. I'm not sure he has the conversion, given he's only converted 18% of his pole positions into wins. That's certainly an area that he's going to need to improve if he wants to become a world champion. So let's talk about the reasons why Charles can be a world champion and can fight for a world championship. Well, like we said before, he's got the lap time, okay? So what does that mean? That means he's got the feel for the car. He's got the natural talent. He can feel the grip, he can extract the performance, he is at the limit of braking, the limit of cornering, the limit of acceleration. We don't need to tell Charles how to drive fast. We don't need to tell him what setup direction to go in. He has that natural, innate ability to feel the grip of the car and feel the road surface. So that's a big tick, and that's one of the reasons why he can fight for the championship. Again, you need that. You need that lap time. That's your sword. That is what you're going to go fighting with and go into battle with. Number 2, he's a great guy. He's an absolutely nice person. I'm yet to hear someone say or speak badly of Charles. Everyone says he's such a nice person. He's easy to get along with. He's easy to work with. Very nice character. And obviously that plays a part as well. You're in a team environment. You are a driver surrounded by 1,000 or more people. Being a nice person is very important. The third reason why Charles can win a world championship is that Ferrari build quick cars. Guys, I've said previously, over the past 5-10 years, Ferrari have built some really good cars. 2019 was a quick car. 2022, Charles took a few wins there and could have and should have fought for the championship. We've heard Jock Clear mention this in a podcast recently. And the car this year, okay, it's not the best car, but he's taken 2 wins. Carlos took a win or 2 as well. So the car's not too bad. It's always there or thereabouts, and it just needs someone to drag it into where it needs to be. And we saw Fernando do that really well in 2010 and 2012. So this championship in the car, it just needs to be extracted in the right way. Now, the fourth and final reason why Charles can win a world championship is that there's been glimpses of hope, glimpses of greatness, glimpses of excellence throughout his career. The first one that comes to mind is the 2024, this year, Monza Italian Grand Prix. He pitted on lap 15 and he got those hard tires all the way to the end and still in good condition, still knocking out great lap times, even when those around him who were on different cars, different strategies, 2-stop strategies, or Carlos, who pitted significantly later than Charles, they all struggled with tire wear, and Charles didn't, and he executed a great 1-stop strategy and an excellent final stint on those hard tires. That's a glimpse of greatness. That's a glimpse of excellence. To be able to look after the left front tire in the way he did, bring that car home and bring those points home is exactly the sort of conversion and the qualities that we're looking for in a world champion. And then you got Monza 2019, obviously a fantastic defensive drive to defend off Hamilton and Bottas, both of whom were coming at him and attacking him in faster cars. Again, defense and tire management are two of the many factors that we listed out before that can help with that lap time conversion. And Charles has demonstrated that he does have two of them. Now, there are flashes of that brilliance, but obviously to be a world champion, you need to be consistently delivering those performances. And you need to be consistently able to extract that from the car and win even on bad days when you probably shouldn't be winning. So to summarize, the lap time is there. He's a great person. Ferrari build some quick cars, and there have been glimpses of greatness and glimpses of excellence that we've seen throughout his career so far. All right, guys, now here's the bad news. Here are the reasons and areas of why Charles can't win the World Championship. And look, this is not a criticism at all. It's just maybe some areas that he needs to work on and improve. So I'm going to bring these up on the screen so we can have a look at them together. But the first topic or first area is the unforced error count for Charles Leclerc is very high. And he is prone to make a cheeky unforced error when he's either under pressure or not under pressure. You know, sometimes we just see that red Ferrari in the wall for good reason or for bad reason. And Charles needs to limit that. If he's going to fight for a world championship, he needs to definitely rein that in. And even if it takes a little bit of lap time off, he can afford to do that and just bring home those points and bring home those podiums and those trophies and build a championship together. Okay, so we've got 4 crashes in Baku. We've got the 2019 Baku qualifying where he crashed at turn 8, was the famous team radio, "I am stupid." And we've got another 3 crashes in Baku. So we're talking about 4 crashes across 4 years at one track, guys. That's not a great record. So again, 2019 turn 8, 2021 in free practice 2, he's crashed at turn 15. It's the exact same place he crashed this year, although this year it was in FP1 at turn 15. So there's something there in his technique where that corner's catching him out, or he expects more grip than what is there. And the other crash, obviously 2023 in turn 5 in SQ3, he's got a bit crossed up and put the nose into the wall there in Baku. Now look, Baku being a street circuit, it's one of the tracks that you need to build up to. You can't go out there and expect to just nail it. And why would you want to? You've got practice 1, practice 2, practice 3, qualifying 1, qualifying 2. It's only really qualifying 3 when you need to put in a good lap. The other ones in free practice sessions, they're kind of inexcusable and they're very unprofessional. Again, for a street circuit, it's something where you want to be building together a weekend, like what we saw him do this year, 2024 in Monaco. He just executed the most perfect and beautiful weekend, and we are going to get to that Monaco one that got away from him as well. So let's take a look at a few more unforced errors. So we've got 2022 Variante Alta in Imola in the wet. And guys, whenever you're driving in the wet, going across chicanes and curbs, it's a big no-no to touch the curbs in the wet because they're painted. And wet paint is slippery, guys. So what Charles has done is gone over this curb massively, Variante Alta, and the car's weight has just been thrown around. When the car's landed, it's landed really poorly, and he's ended up facing the wrong way and in the wall in 2022 Imola. Again, it's just like throwing points away, like it's just very unprofessional. It's something he'll have to clean up and totally cut out of his game. And it's a mindset thing, guys. I think he needs to focus on completion and go into the races thinking, I need to be on the podium at the end of this race. I need to just complete and bring home those points and let someone else just make those mistakes. We need to talk about 2022 Paul Ricard. Obviously, he was on an old set of mediums at that time, but he knew they were old. So it's not like anything sort of caught him out by surprise there. And it was in a decreasing radius corner, crucially. So we're just going to jot that down because I'm going to refer back to it when we talk about more unforced errors. So decreasing radius corner, obviously where you're braking and downshifting at the same time and the corner gets tighter. And Charles has lost the rear on entry here and just slid the car into the wall. And out of the lead, guys, again, that's 25 points that's just been thrown away. So like we said before, he needs to really cut that out and focus on just building championships and building championship campaigns right from the outset. The other one on my list is 2023 Q3 Miami. Again, another decreasing radius corner. And again, where he's climbed over the curbs and it's just unsettled the car. Here, he's just come over this curb and he's lost the rear and slid off. Again, another decreasing radius corner in Miami in qualifying when he's pushing. Again, just needs to rein that in a little bit. Just pull it in, keep it tidy, keep it clean, and play the percentages, play the consistency. Get that car on the front row of the grid and try to have a good race on Sunday. Also in 2023, we've seen a lockup in Vegas at turn 12. Now this can happen. Obviously, Vegas is like the braking zones there are so specific and so particular, and he was on the hard tire at the time and the track has no grip. But we actually saw him do this previously in the simulator on a race together, and he's just locked up there at turn 12. He's done exactly the same thing. As you're turning just slightly through that curvature and you're braking and turning at the same time, it's very easy to lock up that unloaded left front inside tire, and he's lost the position there in Vegas. It's the total opposite, for example, of being on a soft tire in Imola on a sunny day. That's really a different situation to a night race in Vegas when it's cold on the hard tire. Do you know what I mean? So the common sense has to be there. And like I said, because Charles is present and he's immersed in just feeling the car and pushing on and doing a good job in terms of lap time, there's not that extra bandwidth and there's not that extra capacity to say, actually, this is risky conditions here. I need to just do a good job and bring the car home. Okay, so with the unforced errors out of the way, let's start to talk about racecraft. So let's first define what is racecraft, because a lot of people get this wrong. And when I'm teaching my drivers and I ask them, what does racecraft mean to you? They come up with all sorts of creative answers. Racecraft is your attack and your defense, and it is nothing more. It is only attack and defense. It is attacking in the right way at the right time, taking the right opportunities and using the right attacking technique. And crucially, where I really see some really poor racecraft is defense, defending in the right way, covering the inside, braking to the right moment, making sure that if they're going to pass you, they're going to go the long way around. It's risky for them because it's the long way around, like I said, and there's less grip out there. So attack and defense, two massive skills and massive areas that you need to work on. Does Charles have this? I think he definitely could improve in a few areas in terms of racecraft. Let's take a look at a few examples now. So as we bring them up on the screen together, you'll see that we've got Imola 2022, the start in Vegas 2023, Austria 2019, and 21 Austria as well. And the bottom one, the last one there, that's the only time I've seen some not so great attack from Charles. Austria 2019, of the second heavy braking zone, I think it's turn 2 or 3. Charles pulls to the racing line. Max says, thank you very much. I'll go up the inside. And then they do bump wheels. So it kind of looks like Charles tried to defend it, but there was absolutely no defense at all from Charles here. You just need to cover off Max in this situation, pull to the inside, get as far to the inside as you can until Max commits and decides to the outside. And when he does that, you're in control of the corner because you're saying, no, you're not turning into this corner, Max, before I turn into this corner. And I say when we turn into this corner, and it's you after me. Thank you very much, sir. So there was none of that. Again, I have no idea what's going through their heads. And in this particular case, they're fighting for the lead, guys. So not a good sign from Charles there. Let's talk about starts for a minute, because I thought Charles took a beautiful pole position in 2023 Vegas, but off the line, similar to what we've seen Lando do this year, there's absolutely no intention to defend the lead against Max Verstappen off the line. You've got Charles sitting on pole position, Max sitting next to him, and if Charles gets a bad start, then he just lets Max go alongside. What I'm expecting these drivers to do, and my expectation in terms of defending your position off the line, is angle your car across at the other driver and get to the inside as quickly as possible. You want to trade pole position, which is useless, for track position and the inside in order to keep your P1. And the inside is so much more valuable than pole position, guys. I'd rather be P2 and up the inside than P1 and on the outside. Now, don't forget, pole position is always on the racing line, which is on the outside. You need to get to the inside as quickly as possible. And like we said before, force Max around the outside. Ask him the question, are you going to outbrake me on cold tires around the outside of a long corner at turn 1 at night in Vegas? Like, it's quite a big ask. So I didn't see any of that from Charles. I'm expecting, and I need to see this moving forward in order to protect and defend his position, get to the apex first, and control and manage the corner thereafter. Fourth and finally, in 2019, we saw Charles attacking twice around the outside of Checo Perez in Austria. He tried to go around the outside down the bottom of the hill there, I think it's turn 4, and subsequently turn 5 as well. Exactly what I've just been speaking about. It's so hard to drive around the outside, and we have to say good defense by Checo Perez in this case. But in 2019, Charles is trying to attack around the outside. It just doesn't work in terms of probability. It's just a low percentage play around long corners there where you're just not going to have enough grip. time, and the person in front who's controlling the corner, controlling the apex, can just run you out of road at any time. And so that's why I'd recommend covering and pulling to the inside and not attacking around the outside as well. When you're attacking, the same rules apply. You need to go for the inside. You need to find a way and find a gap and get up to the inside, because that's where you can control the corner from that position. So by Charles attacking around the outside, it looks very low quality. It looks like very desperate. And it looks like that he's not seriously committed to getting to the inside, which is totally different technique. So to summarize, I think there needs to be a little bit of work and a little bit of driver coaching there when it comes to attack and defense. I'd like to see Charles pull to the inside when he's under attack. And when he's attacking, I'd like to see him not commit to the outside. If you're going to go to the outside, just don't commit. Just stay behind, happy days, and just wait for that opportunity. When the guy in front of you has left a car's width up the inside, bang, you're going to sneak down the inside. So that's Charles's racecraft and unforced errors covered. We need to start to talk about Ferrari. Can Ferrari get to a world championship level? Are they at a world championship level? What do they need to do to get there? So we've heard Leclerc mention that when Ferrari gets to Charles's level, then they'll win a world championship. I'm not 100% sure I agree with that, because as we've just discussed, Charles's level includes a bunch of unforced errors and not the world's best racecraft. So if Ferrari getting to that level is considered a good level, I still don't think they're going to be world champions. Ferrari need to get to that level, and then both of them need to move forward. So let's talk about Ferrari and the racing operations. Now, I have to be totally honest with you guys, Ferrari's race operations and race management has been terrible pretty much since the Michael Schumacher days, since the Ross Brawn days. We've heard some really silly, clumsy, unprofessional radio calls from Charles's old race engineer, his new race engineer, and Carlos's race engineer as well. So I might just add that the guys and girls building these red cars in Italy, in Maranello, are actually doing a fantastic job. Ferrari have released some really good cars recently over the past decade. The cars are not too bad. The racing operations team, who are there to run, manage, set up, execute, and extract performance from that car, have been absolutely terrible, particularly as it pertains to the race engineering team. Those guys need to do a lot more work. They need to bring in some specialist technical driver coaches and mentors to straighten out the goals and objectives for every session and discuss strategy in the right way as well. So let's bring up our list together and have a look at some of Ferrari's mistakes over the last couple of years. So we've got 2022, the Monaco pit stop drama. They were getting undercut by Checo Perez. And when you're being undercut, guys, and you can see it in real time, like there's no point coming in a lap later and forgoing that track position. You've only really got one option if you allow yourself to be undercut, and that's to go long and try to create a better delta at the end of the race. In that particular example, Sergio pitted for the intermediate tire, and instead of Charles coming in a lap later, pitting for the intermediate and falling behind those who'd already pitted, stay out, keep the track position, and go straight onto the dry tire at the end. We heard Carlos coming on the radio saying exactly the same thing, like, no, this is dumb, why are we doing this? It also happened in 2024 in Monza. Lando Norris pits on lap 14, Charles pits on lap 15. He's been clearly undercut, so like, why would you do that? You give Charles so much more work to do on that hard compound tire for the final stint. If you're going to do a run stop, run something like 20:33. It's so much more sensible strategy than like 15:35 or 40 or whatever they ran at the end there. That's such a long stint for Charles. So the racing operations team, they're not switched on. They need to get with the programs. You're being undercut in real time. Why would you pit a lap later and forgo that position? So that happened in Monaco when Charles lost the lead after a beautiful pole position. And it happened in Monza this year. And like I said before, Charles did an excellent job in 2024 Monza to pull that car to a victory with excellent tire management. So I might also highlight that it's not the first time that we've heard Carlos pushing back at his race engineering team saying, guys, come on, are you serious? We've had some interruptive radio calls in Paul Ricard. We've had some radio calls in Silverstone when they said to Carlos, don't attack Charles or leave 10 car lengths to Charles under the safety car. And Carlos is like, guys, stop inventing. I think it's the perfect word. Like, stop being so creative. Just get back to basics. I think this is something that Charles needs to work on actually. Now that we mentioned that, he should be taking a leaf out of Carlos's book. never trust that strategy team. Like, think for yourself, be independent, ask yourself, is what we're doing right? Does it make sense? Should we be doing this? Is this what we agreed at the start of the race? These are all the questions that Charles needs to ask himself. And that quality is called critical thinking. And that's what Carlos has demonstrated. I'd love to see Charles push back more and think for himself more. Now, we do need to talk about 2022 Paul Ricard and the crash that we mentioned earlier. And I said that it was an unforced error from Charles. Absolutely, yes, it was. But it's also a result and a fault of the strategy team. They left him out on that medium tire so long. Like, what do you expect to happen? If we exaggerate this example and we just leave him out there for 100 laps, at one point, that thing is going to run out of grip. So there's so many long corners in Paul Ricard that the rear tire life was just degrading. Pretty much left him out there to die. So whilst we said it was an unforced error from Charles, and it was, Ferrari strategy team certainly had a hand and a part to play in that. They could have quite easily pulled him in and done a more sensible strategy. And you've got to look after the driver on the track as well. Even if your computer tells you that this is the fastest strategy, the human and the guy actually there has to execute on those old compound tires. So you need to be, you need to be thinking and making it easier for your driver. I just can't believe they would leave him out there to suffer and give him so much hard work to do. It's again similar what they did in Monza this year, just leaving him that long stint at the end. They need to facilitate the drive, right? And to facilitate the victory. So like I said before, a lot of work needs to be done in this area. Okay, let's finish by talking about the Lewis Hamilton factor. And as we've just finished talking about the racing team and the race operations team, Lewis also falls into this category of trusting the team way too much. You only need to look at one race ago at Singapore this year. They allowed him and they agreed to start on the soft compound tire. Absolutely the worst call in history. I have no idea why Lewis would ever agree to that. And it happens often. Lewis actually agrees and trusts the team way too much. He hasn't got that critical thinking like he needs. So out of Charles and Lewis, here's going to be the differentiating factor. Who's going to be the one to take the strategy on their own and almost drag the team with them and let the team build them a good car, but you need to do most of the racing operations yourself? So is that going to be Charles that takes the Carlos Sainz approach, or is that going to be Lewis Hamilton? Because they've both got the speed. I think Lewis has less mistakes in him than Charles, but both of them are probably guilty of trusting their team and their race strategy department way too much. I think whoever can get on top of that first, whoever can say, no, this is how I want to run the race, and this is the way I will be running the race, that will be the driver who comes out on top. Guys, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Obviously, we've covered a lot of ground here. We've talked about Charles's speed, his mistakes, his racecraft, the Ferrari operations team, and the incoming Lewis Hamilton. So let me know your thoughts and questions in the comments section below. Definitely subscribe to this channel, guys, so you can keep up to date with driving tips and racing information moving forward. And I'll see you in the next one.